Hey, everybody. Welcome to SOBs who love SOV. Maybe they don't love this SOV, but I am Becca. I am joined by all three of my co-hosts, Maddie Deering.
Oh.
Slade Shepard.
Ew.
And Tony Masiello.
Nerd.
Yeah. Maybe we should go back to that one. So this is the story behind this. We are going to watch Bodycount from 1987. It is a Canadian shot on video, made for TV film. And the story behind it, I picked it. Okay. I'll own it up to it. But I have a friend in one of my 80s groups. He was trying to watch Bodycount, the slasher that's supposed to take place in Colorado, but is actually filmed in Italy, which I think is even the same year or like whatever. And he accidentally stumbled upon this turd and was like, I would recommend anyone to watch it. And so I ended up watching it, and he watched it too with me. We texted back and forth. Yes, there was some alcohol involved. Yes, I was bouncing things back and forth with somebody. So I had fun with it. Because it's so it's terrible, but it had some funny, charming things. And so I got these three to watch it, and I'm thinking this is going to go at least Satan's Storybook had 2 out of 5 because we added Samantha in there. I'm thinking I'm gonna be a loner on this one.
Who knows? We'll find out soon.
We'll have to see.
We will. Tony loved it so much that he forgot that he even owns the VHS.
And that I've seen it before as well.
Yeah.
It was about halfway through, and I'm like, wait a second, I know this movie.
I know this movie, this convoluted movie with a dude in a yellow, red cab. So I think we can all agree to start out with, it starts with a band called the Razorblades playing live, and they sing the theme song, which is pretty amusing and kick-ass, I thought.
I said, Bodycount, you better watch out for me, Bodycount. It's a crazy mean Bodycount.
Oh, it's great.
So what was it, Maddie? Was it you that said, yeah, the theme song was great, then it went downhill from there?
Definitely.
So this centers around this kind of things are driven by this radio station. We have this guy Kirby who is the worst DJ or news talk radio dude who has ever fucking walked the earth.
Oh, he's awful.
Oh, he's horrible. He's horrible at everything he does.
Giving out critical police information towards an investigation out on the radio waves. So at the very start of the movie, it's like, oh my God.
Okay, but to be fair, the sergeant later just hands him the list of everybody who bought that particular model of gun. Well, I guess I always did want to get rid of you, so here, you go investigate.
We'll talk about that.
I didn't know the Canadian police could just deputize a radio guy instantly. It's awesome.
Well, and the worst thing about the guy is in that first scene where you meet him and he kind of shows up and he's talking to the detectives, he seems all excited and he says something along the lines of, oh, is it a rape or sexual assault? And they're like, no, and he seems all bummed.
Oh, shucks. So basically, Mark is our cab guy. So we've got kind of 4 main people that are we've got a lot of characters here, but we've got 4 main non-law enforcement characters. So Mark is your cab guy, and at the end of the scene, he pulls up to, he's dropping somebody off at the club where the Razorblades are playing. And here's my favorite character, the dude he owes money to, Charlie. Comes out in this black suit. He's got this white boutonniere, flower. And he's shaking Mark down for money, but then later we find out it's not about drugs, guys. He borrowed money from him to get his cab so that he can make a living. We've learned on the radio, right, that there's already been an older woman who was killed, correct?
89 years old.
Yeah.
Right. And then we have this couple.
That's funny.
I don't know either. But yeah, she was old. But we have this couple on the playground. They're supposed to be teenagers, we find out later.
Yeah, they come out of the bar, and I was just sitting and thinking, I was like, this is Canadian, right? What's the drinking age in Canada?
19.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that is plausible. Okay, that's not a plot hole necessarily. But that guy, his like dialogue where he's like, "Do you want to do it? Like, where do you want to do it?"
Sisters. She won't mind.
She won't mind.
Yeah. Like they spend a lot of time like coordinating where they're gonna do it before they get pow-powed by the gun.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, oh, is this gonna be like a made-for-TV giallo, like bootleg giallo film? Because like the hand comes out with the gun and just
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's that or just
no, it definitely isn't.
Or that it was just that the person whose hand it was like the key grip, who also was probably playing 5 different other characters. I don't know.
Definitely.
You know, it reminded me of David Berkowitz, the son of Sam. That's what I kind of thought of.
Yeah.
Initially when it started, you know.
A little bit. But so this person kills people and puts a little number, like a little painted number on them.
Was that ever explained? Like
no.
Like
I didn't.
What his inspiration for that was? It was. They were talking later about it being like model paint, and why didn't he just is it a marker? Why did he use model paint?
Well, and you could get it from any store anywhere, but it's the incriminating evidence that makes him arrest the wrong person later.
Can model paint everywhere in Canada? What? This is a hobby shop.
I don't know. I guess, yeah. I'm not sure. But here's one thing that was the guy that I was watching this with. He is Canadian. And I was like, they kept talking about the gun is illegal. It's messy. Keep saying it's messy and illegal. And it's a Magnum 44. And I'm like, that's illegal in Canada? He's like, oh, yeah. And I was like,
but
okay.
Somehow they keep a record of the ones that are caught.
Who buys it? Yes. Thank you.
Thanks. What?
Yes, yeah. So I guess you have to get a license for an illegal gun in Canada as well.
Oh God! In the interview that follows the murders with the I guess the father. Oh. Well, she wasn't very pretty and she wasn't popular.
Right.
Who says that about their daughter?
And he was that guy was the only guy who ever showed her interest and blah blah.
He's just like fucking destroying his own daughter like that. And then the asshole
loser.
Fucking asshole radio guy's like, she was pretty and popular.
Yeah. Which I guess, it was just to show that he would like spin the story, however, but it's like, really? Those are the details that you're going to be spinning?
One of my favorite lines too is like, I don't understand God. And then he just looks, he looks at him and says, who?
that little scene, actually, this is probably one of my favorite scenes, is between Kirby, the radio guy, and the dad, because they are both horrible actors. Kirby, he is so wooden, it's painful, and he has some weird a lot of people in this have weird accents that I don't know if it's maybe Canadian regional kind of accents, but things where it's that doesn't really sound like everybody else. But it doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard either.
Yeah. Most of the dialogue in this film seems like it was written by an alien with a rudimentary understanding of how humans can interact.
Yeah. That is true.
Or schizophrenic. It seems like it jumps all over the place. It contradicts itself constantly.
Oh, God.
And just usually like between scenes I'll make like a little line in my notes or something just so I kind of know, we're jumping to the next thing. There are a lot of lines in my notes.
Yeah,
the editing in this is frenetic.
Yeah, my next line that's under in my notes that's underlined is aggressive cabbies.
Yes.
Holy shit, causing accidents.
Well, we did actually miss one thing that the cab guy Mark, he goes over to his girlfriend's house, which this is such a weird thing, not to start out with, but as it goes on. So he goes to Nan's house. She's a model, and she basically is talking about how like she'd eat standing up, 10 hours on her feet, had to take a really long cab ride there and back or whatever. And then he's just like, oh, well, tomorrow, how about you drive a cab and I'll model? I was like, wow, you're a real dick.
Didn't he say something like, I drive in a cab for 15 hours a day or something like that? And I was just like, what the fuck?
Clearly is not doing.
No.
No, most of the time he's just standing outside of places and smoking a cigarette. So the detective questions Mark, which I don't know why did the detective first go to question Mark to start out with? Because it didn't have to do with the red cab.
Yeah, not yet.
I mean, is it because and he doesn't have the guy's log, so how does he know where he was last night?
I think that was probably a continuity error in the script somewhere. I don't know.
Continuity error in the script? No way. No way.
Oh no, we'll get to a really, really great continuity error here in a few. The fact that our murderer doesn't have a motive for about another 20 minutes, and yet he's been killing since before the beginning of the movie. Yeah,
it's like they tried to throw in just like this the random murder later on, and it's just it's like,
and they never go after that murder.
No,
they never figure out who did that one. They don't even care. It was like, oh, fuck that one.
No, it's good lord. This guy does not know how to drive at all. He is incredibly aggressive while driving his cab, and just pulling out in front of people.
Nobody
wears seatbelts in this movie.
But it was the 80s, and it was Canada. But I think they tried to New York it up a little bit. Like, I think they almost tried to hide that it was kind of Canada. And I think just like, you know what I mean? Like, I think they tried to make it like, oh, the fast cabbie, like, the New York cabbie kind of thing. Because I have a feeling like Toronto, like cab drivers are not. This is actually Hamilton, Canada, anyway, not even Toronto. So I have a feeling they don't have like the same like reputation as being like fast and loose. But so we do briefly meet Paul, who is everybody, he's our killer, sort of. I guess he's partially a killer, and we get to start seeing his interactions with the landlady, who's like the sweetest freaking person in the world. This is the only part of this whole movie that like really pissed me off, is the way he treats Mrs. Wood.
Yeah, like she's so sweet to him, and just like, oh, let me use that friendly old woman that takes. Let me give you some pie. Come on inside.
Yeah, at one point she like mends his wounds and even says, I don't even know why I charge you money anymore. You're so much more than just a boarder. Like, you dick. What a dick. Anyway. So we get, which is never really explained, we get this really bossy older lady who hails his cab to go to the cemetery because that's how she gets her jollies.
She likes watching people attend funerals, I would assume, or being part of them somehow. That was very odd to me, but also kind of interesting because it's just like, I've never really heard of that. I wonder if that is actually a thing that
it's gotta be.
That people like to watch other people suffer and cry and get enjoyment out of that.
Or join in with it. Like if you think about like Fight Club, how like Edward Norton and Helena Bonham Carter, they would go to all those like support groups just to like, soak it all in and whatever.
Yeah, I'd say that is. I thought that was an interesting choice for like getting him to the cemetery. That was kind of neat, and to meet a very special lady.
Lori, she's real special.
She is. Holy crap.
So, yeah, she's just crying at her sister's grave. She came all the way from Vancouver, and now you didn't think to call first before you came? Okay, this is another thing I do not understand. And again, I guess they came out of the bar, they could be 19, so maybe the sister was like of age and not living with the parents or whatever. But she said
she had a job for me and a place, and now she's been murdered in the park.
But the old lady couldn't be her sister. It had to be the other girl who was okay. Let's say she's 19 and has an apartment and she's gonna like keep let her live there. But like, she got murdered last night. Yeah. How did this girl get all the way from fucking Vancouver? Unless she was en route, I guess. Found out when she got there.
Murdered and buried in one night.
Yeah. Yeah, without the family, without the sister.
They just want to get it over with.
Yeah. They're like, she wasn't popular anyway.
Just bury her, eh?
She was ugly. God. He was gonna dump her anyway because she's so ugly. But so then we get to Paul again, and this is one of the ones. His doctor, that accent that this doctor had, I could not place it for anything. Like at first, when he was turned around, I thought he was like slightly Asian, and then like I see he's not, and then he's kind of talking like I don't know that we've got an Irish brogue later. We get a little bit of everything. Maybe they're just all inclusive. Sure. But this is where we find out that Paul did some tests, and then he goes in to talk to this condescending doctor who tells him he has a massive liver tumor, and it's all in his other organs. He has a month to a year. Now, what kind of like test do you get that is just seemingly routine, where the next day they tell you have a massive liver tumor? You've got cancer all through your body. That's not a blood test, am I right?
No, they do a biopsy for that. So
yes, I'm like a CT scan, something, right? Yeah. But anyway, again, convenience. But this is where I say that's the kind of his motivation, right? To be killing, so to speak. It's because
when he has the great line, it's jerks like you that make this world the stinking pit it is.
Yeah.
But he's just wanting to take and murder nice people. It's nice strangers. It's
and he instantly knows it's because he grew up around the diamond chemical plant, and so we have like this little PSA of like, oh, industry's killing our people or whatever. But he knows it instantly. But like, first of all, this is a good quarter into the movie. He finally gets his motive. Okay, then what about the other 3 people that he's killed before? Like,
whatever.
But yeah, then again, then if we go back, like, what's his motive for killing any of the people that he kills anyway? It's not like any of them are bad people or have a connection.
Yeah, he just has an attitude problem, this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it almost would have worked a little better if they'd said he had a brain tumor. Sure. Like, so you could kind of think maybe he was going off the deep end just because of his, his tumor.
The one too many hockey accidents.
Yeah, he was shooting that Uzi a little bit too often, kind of rattled his brain a little bit. But so then we go back.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And So we got Mark and the new girl. They're in bed, in the water bed, by the way. I couldn't help but notice that. But
Yes. And that stupid
How do
fucking
you
smile.
yes, I feel wonderful. I feel
How
great.
do you feel?
Feel.
I always ask my partner that after having sex. How do
Right,
you
well-
feel?
And he says that, after everything that happened last night with your sister and then us making love, like those two things are like on par with each other on like effect on a human being.
Can I put this out there? I've never had sex on a waterbed. It just seems like it seems like it'd be really inconvenient. Like just flopping around, I don't.
I mean, I've had sex on waterbeds. I've slept in waterbeds, and it is the most idiotic, impractical thing that anyone has heard of.
My uncle had one, and I just I took him would sit lay on it, and it's just it felt so weird. It didn't seem like it would be comfortable at all that you just sleep in, much less the anything else.
Well, aside from the fact you got this this water sloshing in a plastic thing go.
Did they even
And
make
it's
them
cold.
before? My friend had one when I was in elementary school, I guess. I haven't heard of one since.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well,
They
I think they do. I'm going to look this up, actually. I think they do, but I think waterbed stores near me. There are actually waterbed stores near me. That's interesting.
Well, I know where to order one from.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like they do make them, but they're more water filled. They look more like a mattress.
Yeah.
They're only a small fraction of overall bed and mattress sales. Many home furnishing stores won't sell them. And some that do say it's been a year since they closed a deal. I'm sure there are some diehards,
Since Nightmare on Elm Street was that 4 with the
Yeah.
waterbed,
Yeah.
So part
Yep.
one.
I'd be afraid.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be too. But yeah. So yeah, he just keeps asking her these questions, and she's just like, "You're a Gemini. Geminis talk a lot. Do you have anything to eat?" She's just kind of like,
He's like, "Can I have some money?" And
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Can I? Do you have
Why
a
don't you go
spare
grocery
key?
shopping?
Do you have a spare key? Yeah. Let me get you
Yes.
one. It's like,
"Yes,
what?
strange lady I picked up in a freaking cemetery."
Don't you got a girlfriend?
Yes.
Okay, and that's the other thing. We've already established he has this girlfriend who's a very pretty model. They don't get to connect very often because they kind of work opposite times. We do know this. But he's real easy just taking in this other girl and doing it with her. And later, the girlfriend even knows about it, and she seems to be oblivious and just doesn't care.
Yeah, she's
either.
cool with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Always a
God, don't
hunky cab driver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All that cab
Exactly.
money.
That cab money that he can't even pay off his cab for.
It's like later. I'm gonna be celibate. Oh God.
I'm warning you.
We'll get there.
Oh my God. So yeah, so then we have the cabbie who gets shot and gets the number 4 on him for no apparent reason. Who knows? But that's when we find out these numbers are being painted with some paint that you can get anywhere in town. Again, I guess there are a lot of hobbyists, a lot of model plane builders or something in this town. But the black detective that comes in, I don't know what his name was. Oh my God, he cracked me up the whole time. He was he almost seemed like he got hired into this and he didn't know what he was getting into. I used to do summer stock. I did Shakespeare in the Park, Because he's just so on it. Every time he comes in.
Yeah, he's having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. Which, again, usually that's one of the things that makes these fun. A lot of the people in this did not seem to be having fun.
No, some wooden performances.
But okay. So Sergeant Corey Jackman, the old dude. Best line. So the girl cop, who they're not really quite listening to, is she is like saying, well, there was a red cab spotted here and here, and there aren't that many red cabs around. And that guy looks in the camera and puts his hand on his chin. He goes, I saw a red cab yesterday.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun.
Cue commercial break, right?
Yes.
Probably.
He reminded me of like a low-rent Lloyd Bridges from Airplane, who was not trying to be funny.
It'd been more enjoyable if he'd hammed it up a little bit more, but it's just like, it was just infuriating, just annoying cop. Like,
yeah, he just refused to like look at evidence or like he made up his mind and then that was it. And
he just decides to believe little old ladies that say, no, he would never own a gun. Not him.
Right. When the freaking radio guy can follow a lead better than the lead sergeant.
Give that guy a badge after egging him on later to take and switch up his method of dispatching people.
Yeah, he probably did actually get like put on the force. Well, he says at the very end, you know, he's like, I know, because I was there. He's like, oh, you tell that story all the time, don't you, Kirby? Every bar he's ever gone into after this. So he goes back to visit Mark again, and it's like, I mean, he's like basically straight out like accusing him of being the murderer. Like, as this guy is just walking to his cab. Where were you on June 29?
Let me see your log.
Yeah. Like,
I want those logs tomorrow on my desk.
But then even
A lot of talk of
then,
logs.
a lot of talk of logs, but the guy does comply and he gets the logs to the other guy. But he's like, well, logs, any of that can be faked.
Logs can be faked. It's like, well,
it's written on a clipboard.
Yeah. Whatever. But oh god, then if that's not bad enough, then he starts getting hassled again by Charlie. And he's like dressed like Smooth Criminal, like white suit, you know, white hat, and he brings this guy with like a mullet and a wife beater. His unlikely muscle.
This is like, he's really like the most, like the least intimidating gangster. he's like what you imagine a Canadian gangster be like. It's like, hey, how are you doing? You know that money? Oh, if you can get it to me sometime, that'd be great. Or else, you know, I'm gonna have to break your legs. You know,
yeah. I'm gonna have to get this guy. Hey, yo, Joey, can you put down the little bats? Come here, I need you. I need you to rough this guy up. He is a snappy dresser, though. Charlie is. He's, you know, like this is 2 of 3 costume changes. There's one later where he's almost dressed like a biker, like from the 1950s or something. He's a snappy dresser, man.
This movie should have been about him, honestly. I mean, it probably would have been a lot more entertaining.
Yeah. We need a spin-off show with Charlie, the black Canadian gangster dude.
The cab bookie.
Yeah. Whoa. And even, I love it too, like later when he runs into him and Mark's drunk because he's depressed or whatever. He runs into him and he's just like, you should be working. Like, and at that point in time, you don't know it's about the cab yet. So you're thinking, oh, you should be out there pushing drugs. No, he actually like wants him to go like pick up fares so he can pay him back.
And he's being really reasonable about it. I mean, he's just continually giving him second chances, and this guy's just being a complete dick to him. Like, oh, you get your money. It's just like, well, you just give him some money, you know, instead of spending it on fucking booze and
giving it to random girls you meet.
Yeah. He's just spending money willy-nilly throughout this movie, especially later. And I'm like, holy shit, do you want to fucking die?
Yeah.
Because it seems
his
that way.
girlfriend even like yells at him for it. Like, you're like a child. Like, you have no control.
Well, she's so bipolar though. She's like, oh hey, come over.
Yeah. Man, I hate you.
I hate you.
With her Tammy Faye Baker makeup.
You want to get dinner? And then it's like, oh no. It's like, what is that? Wine?
Yeah. Oh, but then she said, but that's the thing. She says, okay, let's go out to dinner. And then she says, I don't have any money. And he said, well, neither do I. So she was expecting him to pay for dinner, which would have been fine. But it's not fine that he already like wasted his money on her before he got there.
Yeah, and she's mad that he bought her a gift.
Yeah.
It's so fucking weird. Like, I was just like, what the fuck is happening? Is she bipolar?
I think the writer was schizophrenic and hearing voices when they wrote this film. I mean,
yeah.
It's
yeah,
constantly contradicting itself. I mean,
oh yes,
yeah.
For sure. So we have the throwdown at the good old IGA.
Yes.
Whoa, yeah. And in fact, that was one thing that he honed in on. He's like, IGA? We haven't had IGAs around here forever. And I like sent him a link. I'm like, I go to IGA sometimes. We have them still around here.
We have one here too. So
yeah, they're the ones that we have are in like this very small rural towns where like a Kroger is just not going to open up, kind of thing.
I call it the EGA.
Okay, so we meet Jennifer, the cashier. And
this poor unfortunate soul
can't count.
Oh my
God!
Cashier can't count.
So,
I mean,
third time in 2 days that she can't get changed right, and you're a cashier. That's your job. And like Paul makes it seem like he's like being a dick to her or something. It's like, no. He's firing her because she's fucked up 3 times in 2 days, Paul.
I've worked with people that have been like, will hold out the money and be like, how much is this? And I'm like, I was like, oh man, I'm not going to be mean.
But he does say, are you stupid or something? But again, that's what I was thinking. So I really didn't think that was a derogatory thing to say to her at that point.
She might have number dyslexia or whatever. I can't remember if it's...
And she shouldn't be a cashier.
I know.
Exactly.
But,
give her a job in the produce department.
Right.
Can't mess up stocking shit.
She could fucking bag groceries, dude.
Exactly.
But we do find out this is another job that she's lost. So presumably she's not really good at anything.
Well, probably not, because her father likes to beat the fuck out of her. It's like, lose another job, bitch.
I know. God damn it, the IGA had a future.
Gotta buy my Bud Light.
She's like 35 years old and lives at home, you know. I mean, can't count. I mean,
can't hold a job. Gets the shit beat out of her repeatedly.
She's perfect for Paul.
She is.
Really?
Yeah. She's just looking for somebody to latch on to.
But managers, like, him making that decision to be like, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to, like, publicly humiliate you in front of everybody instead of taking you to a back room. It just makes it seem even more hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, Paul's just like, I just want my change. I just want to go home.
Right. Like, Jennifer, I don't want to get you in trouble, but you didn't give me the right change back. Okay. But we're keeping it between us.
Okay. It's okay.
But here's the thing where if this were a normal movie that had been written by anyone with any just ability to tell a story, the guy from the IGA would have been murdered that night.
Yes. Well, why wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or
that make way too much sense.
Instead, we're killing old ladies
way too
and
much
teenagers.
sense.
Right. But so. Okay, go ahead, because
no, this is just the date. Like, oh god, it's when he takes and comes back. I can't wait to talk about that. Go ahead.
Do you know how to use chopsticks?
Oh wow!
I
Chopsticks real good.
Oh, Maddie, you don't.
No, I tried. I can't get that shit to work.
I don't either, Maddie. It's cool.
Thank you. I don't want to be the.
I do, but I
had
have a Japanese roommate, so
And that's oh my god, that's why I know. I had a Japanese roommate in college, and like she and her friends would like laugh at me because they would always cook and I would eat their food, and they would laugh at me because I could never use the damn chopsticks. And I'm like, will you fucking teach me how to use them? Still laughing at me.
That's it. We need Japanese roommates.
Japanese roommates.
they are the fucking best.
Maybe one day.
They really are.
Actually, mine was great. I loved her.
Oh, Naoki was fucking fantastic. He was cheap as shit though. Like, he ate hot dogs and eggs for damn near every single meal, and he would never turn on the heat during the wintertime. He'd taken he made sure everything was spotless in the house whenever I came back too, because like he was going to college and I was working at the time, so it was we'd sit around and he'd badly interpret fucking Godzilla movies, and we'd watch.
Oh, that's amazing!
Yeah.
He would take in. He was always very, very vocal about. He loved to curse all the time. He would take and go through drive-thrus. I want a fucking cheeseburger and fucking fries. Oh, don't put too much fucking ice in my Coke.
Why do you have the best fucking stories? Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh God.
This is up there with the hitchhiker story.
Japanese roommate in Kentucky who had Tourette's essentially.
Oh God. We went to KFC one time. I'm sorry I'm derailing this again, but
No,
It's a lot more interesting than the film.
we went to KFC one time, and we were sitting down, and I had taken him back to southeastern Kentucky to take in. He wanted to take and see the mountains out there, and we took him back for like an American Thanksgiving, like because he never really experienced that before. He got horribly car sick. He ate 3 Thanksgiving meals because he threw up 2 of them. But on our way back, the guy he loved KFC, and he loved just fast food burgers a lot. So we stop at KFC, we go up to the counter, and this is in my neck of the woods where I grew up, and everybody's fucking horribly racist back there. Like it's not even refuted. Like people taking and saying, "Oh no," and this is like I hate blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Just openly. Anyway, he go up to the counter. He orders, and they just kind of scoff at him a little bit, and then they give us an order, and we take it back to the counter, or back to their table, and there's just like this big family of rednecks, like with like NASCAR hats and wife beaters. He's just like you as stereotypical as you could fucking get. The guy Naoki just turns to me and he says, "What are those goddamn round eyes over there looking at?" They never seen that before. It's loud. Good. I said, "Naoki, you're gonna get us fucking killed, man."
Yeah, yeah.
God, I'm
my hero.
Yes.
Yeah. Rumiko was very demure, very quiet. She was very clean, and she cooked a lot for her boyfriend. She was way too submissive to her boyfriend, and I usually got dinner because she cooked so much. That is my only story. She never cussed out anybody at a KFC or anything. So
I want the fucking bucket.
Oh God. Oh, I miss him so much.
Okay, so back to this movie. So Paul's listening to Kirby. He hears about this other murder that's happened, and he goes to that gun like monument. It's like some kind of war memorial in Canada. I don't know what that was, but he's like using like a scope to like, why is he like zooming in on kids?
Yeah, on kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like...
He can't pick out his victims that he wants. I mean, yeah, it's old people, it's teens, it's kids. He's kind of confused.
I can just see him on the other side going, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah, it was just bizarre that he was just picking out all the kids.
Well, it's almost exciting. It's like, okay, he's going to fucking kill a kid right on, you know?
Yeah.
And he doesn't kill any kids. Like, fuck.
God, stop, you were getting
Almost thought the
somewhere.
movie was going to get good.
You need to go dark real quick. Get me back into this thing. You're losing me.
But he calls Lloyd Bridges from a payphone at the plant, or the chemical plant that is killing him, essentially.
Diamond plants.
Because he wants to he does a good Samaritan thing, basically, to tell him, hey, that last murder, I didn't do that one. I did the rest of them, but I didn't do that one. Like, you know, like maybe you should look somewhere else for that. Like, that's the only explanation, is it not? Like, that he's
like the cop or the audience cares, you know?
Right. The cop doesn't give a shit. He's just trying to keep him on the line. Then he's there. Yeah, they don't even care about the poor guy they fished out of the river or whatever. And then we get a very long chase through.
with a very intoxicated man that goes back into play.
But he was just a little too clean, and his jacket was just a little too nice. But that might be what Canadian homeless people look like. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, this cop, like, I don't know anything about Canadian law enforcement. I would like to think it's maybe a little more organized than this movie portrays.
Yeah, I mean, did nobody see what color his hair was during this chase? Because immediately they're just like, well, it's got to be that fucking cabbie.
Yeah. Your key witness is the drunk guy.
Drunk guy.
Yeah.
I love when they open the door when they're interrogating the taxi guy. He's like, he saw you. It's like,
Yeah,
who the fuck is he?
And he's
And
like,
he's still drunk.
yeah, he's drinking some coffee to like sober up or something. But to be fair, the black detective does call them out on all this because they're obviously trying to set the guy up and trying to get him to confess. And then he walks in, he's like, you can't do that. And then he even says, we even know like the person that was being chased is like a completely different height than this guy. Like, what the
they'd only been grilling him for like 2 minutes, and was he really considering like taking and saying something? It's like, you need to confess. So he's like, no.
Hey, to be fair, they had just busted into his room, taken him out of his beloved waterbed where he was having probably glorious sleep. You know, he's still coming to.
Oh, about that waterbed. Like, look, she taken and coming over to his house originally, like earlier, when he came over to the house in that waterbed there, like, they just got through having sex. And, like, the clothes are thrown around everywhere, and it's just like, oh, well, bye-bye, I'm walking by. It's like, how are you going to not know? As the other girl. It's like, right. All these people in this movie are fucking, like, I don't even know.
They're all, like, in the same, like, they're filming scenes with the same people, but, like, not in the same movie or something. Like, they're today we're filming that one short, right? Okay, so that's the character I need to play today.
The writer went on to do, you know, a ton of movies, aka none. This is their only writing credit, so.
Yes, and apparently this director did a lot of these.
He did a ton, yeah.
Yeah, a ton of these made for TV. Whatever movies.
Emeritus Productions was the company. Yeah, they're pretty bad.
I like the Tower.
Which one?
Yeah.
Wasn't it the Tower? That's the only other one of these I've seen.
Okay.
And I like.
Yeah, I haven't.
But this one.
There's one called Mark of the Beast, which isn't too bad.
Yeah.
Wasn't one of them Heavy Metal Massacre?
No, that's that
Oh,
other
okay.
guy.
Oh, okay.
Nice try.
That's a whole podcast right there.
Oh God, yeah, especially
Well-
the demon.
We might have to do that one. I'm not.
Lord.
Oof.
I'm
No,
not
no.
taking responsibility for that one.
No, we'll get lawsuits and somebody will come in and suplex us to death.
God.
We talk shit about it.
Now I
Oh,
have
God.
to. Yeah.
Me too.
Now I have to see it. But yeah, so I don't even remember where we were. So yeah, basically he's in jail. And then we get to, we get back to see Paul and Miss Wood for a minute. That's where she's like taking care of him, giving him food, mending his wounds. Like, dude, he's such a fuck. But yeah. So so Nan, who is the model girl, right? Tammy Faye Baker, comes over to Mark's house. He's horribly drunk. And like he's like she's seen him with this other girl and is just like, oh, whatever. Like, do you want to have dinner tomorrow night?
Right.
She even
And
acknowledges
he's even
it.
like, yeah, he's like, I'm gonna celibate. I'm gonna become celibate when I sober up. I'm gonna celibate. Celibate.
He's just on the floor trying to pick up those oranges too. It's just,
Yeah. Oh.
I don't know if it could drink. Did he have like a half gallon in his hand of fucking whiskey? Because like if you're drinking 3/4 of that, you're going to be in fucking trouble, like alcohol poisoning levels.
Yeah, there's some people who can handle it. So, you get the impression, like, with later too, like, he uses alcohol to solve his problems, but, don't we all?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So here's Slade's part. So Paul and Jennifer run into each other again. And this is where we find out, like, she's just scared that her dad's going to hit her because she lost the job at IGA. I know it's not funny. It's funny because it's the stupid ass movie. So.
And they're in love, and he got her chopsticks.
Yeah.
he went,
Yes!
he went across town to get her chopsticks. Just like, what?
What she knows how to use chopsticks. You were the one who didn't.
What I love is when they're in front of her house and she reveals after that her dad beats her. She goes, "Paul, will you kiss me, please? Now."
Now,
And here's another one. That night, her father should have been the next murder victim. Nope.
yes, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, and two, like, it's like, kiss me now. It's like, what are you trying to make your dad jealous or something? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening here?
He's asking to be beat, right?
Good. But yeah, when he goes home, Miss Wood confronts him. She's basically like covered his ass to the cops. Like, just like unequivocally, there's no way that Paul has done anything. He doesn't even own a gun, whatever.
It can't be Paul. He's strictly Ivy League.
Yeah. But yeah, then he's like, she's just basically like, I didn't tell him anything. I got rid of him, blah, 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 or whatever. But then he still is like, he shoots her. Like, it made no sense whatsoever.
No
This is
sense.
like, she's the one on your side. Yeah. She didn't even, she was sort of questioning, did you buy a gun? She wasn't even like questioning, did you kill those people? She was just like, did you buy the gun? Like, big deal.
Like, if she just would have cleaned his room, she would have taken and found a lot to contradict his story there. Because that later on.
Yeah, that other gun that he has. Geez, I'm pretty sure that ain't legal in Canada or anywhere else. But so they think they found the smoking gun because there's a rag or something in his cab. that has the paint that matches the paint of these numbers. But we've already found out this paint's sold everywhere, number one. Number two, they broke into his car to get it. So they got this evidence without a warrant, which I'm pretty sure in Canadian law even that would toss it out. Again, they don't seem to be a whole lot about protocol.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, like, what? So, if you use Glidden paint, like, suddenly that, like, makes you, like, a suspect for murder? It made no sense. Of course, it made no sense. I mean, and they're trying to find something just to pin it on him because it's easier. But this is when he goes to the bar and he runs into Lori, who, for some odd reason, Lori is hanging out with Charlie.
Ooh.
Yeah, in their whole interaction through that, I was just like, "What the fuck is what? What is this?" And the oh god,
the gangster is level-headed.
Yeah,
about it.
He's the most level-headed person in the room. He's just like, "Hey."
Oh my god.
And then they get in a fist fight with the guy that he owes money to, who's threatened to like break his fucking legs. It's.
But now he's like, I'm not even doing this because you owe me money. I'm doing this because you're belligerent in the bar. Like.
I'm performing public service at this point.
Exactly. I'm defending the honor of this chick that, for some reason is. All we can assume, because we do find out later that Lori has picked up 3 guys in the cemetery. All we can assume is that she picked Charlie up in the cemetery. Why Charlie was in the cemetery, who the fuck knows? It's a place to hang out. I guess maybe there's not a lot to do in town. The Razor Blades are on tour now, so, they gotta have something to do. But Lori gets, like, picks him up, and she, like, takes him to her car. How the fuck does she get a car within, 3 days?
Why the fuck does she help him? I mean,
I know. Well,
they're in love after just their awkward encounter at the cemetery.
Yeah.
Right.
I love you, Lori.
You're the only guy that I picked up in the cemetery who didn't treat me like absolute crap. So I think I'm going with you. But how did she get a car? But maybe she borrowed money from Charlie to buy the car. Maybe he's just like a used car salesman or something. Oh God. And so Jenny asked Paul if she can come over.
I'm going to come over there right now.
His landlady's dead in her room, but that's okay. And they try. They try to have sex.
You don't love me, do you?
I bought you chopsticks, didn't I?
Oh God.
Oh my God! But yeah, he can't get it up, and then she asks, "Does
Has
that
this
happen?"
happened before?
No, you're the first girl I've ever even done anything with. Oh my God! And she's the same. They're virgins, and
So
he can't
you
get up.
too.
It tried to be sweet and touching with that. It's like a commercial for erectile dysfunction.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like they just like grabbed any quality that they read about serial killers and just tried to sneak it in. Like, oh, he's got to have erectile dysfunction.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, maybe we figured out. Maybe that's why he was killing people in the beginning was the erectile dysfunction before the liver cancer.
Only thing that gets him hard. Only thing that gets him hard is a gun in his hand.
That's right. Gun-toting Canadian. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, it's just like if they have a fucking list for illegal guns, what? Like, they just like go confiscate them. Like, what is it? Do you just try? Oh God, this movie, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. But yes, they have the list and then they end up giving it to the radio host because there's nothing wrong with that.
It's Kirby. Come on.
I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you alone. Give me that list.
Yeah, just give me the list. But we go back to the waterbed, and Mark and Lori are in like postcoital bliss again. And she's kind of like laying on him. And then I think she even asks how he feels at this point or something. He's like, well, black and blue are my favorite colors, except down there. And she recoils. What the fuck did that mean?
That's like my favorite line. I wrote that down. What the fuck?
I love right after too. It's like she's like, I wish there was something I can do, and he's like, there is. Make breakfast.
Make me breakfast. Get in the kitchen.
Recoiled at that line. I was like, oh god.
Oh god. But of course, now this is like quick cuts. Like I actually made just 2 columns in my notes at this point because it's just like going like 2 minutes with one couple and 2 minutes with the next, and it's like, oh Jesus Christ, can you not just stay in one place? But so yeah, she's making the breakfast and she sees that. Okay,
who the fuck has a TV in their kitchen? I just want to ask.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, it was like an old like antenna black and white TV, but it was a TV.
That seems like it would be like get in the way all the time to me.
Oh yeah.
It depends where you put it.
Like
precious counter space.
Yeah.
My grandparents had a TV in their kitchen.
Thank you.
What?
Huh.
Yep.
That's so weird.
A little tiny TV, yep, in the kitchen.
I mean, my parents have one in their kitchen, but it's like where the kitchen table is, like not on the counter.
Oh, we had one on the counter.
Huh.
All right. Okay,
well
there you go.
That must not be, like I've never seen it in my entire life, so I'm glad that that's actually a thing, because there's so many movies in the 80s where they have those little TVs taken and sitting there watching cooking shows and stuff with it. I just had never seen it in my entire life. And now I know that it's actually a real thing and not just made up.
I can honestly say I never questioned that, but
me neither.
I was lucky to have a black and white television.
Yeah.
Living out in the fucking woods.
You lived a different life, Slade.
I did. I really did. Oh, God.
Give me my fucking chicken!
Oh, colorful. And slow people who sharpen knives in the middle of the woods.
Here we go.
Oh, there'll be more that comes out eventually. So.
Oh.
My wonderful.
That's why we come back, everybody. That's why we come back.
Is it? I don't think it is.
Yeah. But so she finds out, they put it on TV that a warrant has been put out for this guy, but they put this everywhere, but before they even try to get him. I mean, I get that he's not at his house, but I'm like, do they usually just put like who they're looking for, like so they know to leave town on television?
Don't know.
That's true.
And
yeah.
When she takes in calls for the police, she asks for the sergeant directly. So I don't know if like she knows that he's involved with the murders or
no, because that's what it says on the TV to call Sergeant Jackson.
Oh, okay. So that's oddly specific for a
yes, right? Because the sergeant's just sitting there like with the hotline going, okay.
Salivating, waiting for that fucking call, breaking the case.
So on that side of things, that's when she tells him that she picked up in 3 days, she picked up 3 different guys at the fucking cemetery. Because she figured eventually she'd find the loser that killed her sister. And she let them all pot her and fuck her, assuming, and whatnot. And she thought he was different. Like, he's another guy you picked up at the cemetery, dear.
And he tells her he loves her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lori,
I love
Angel, I love you. Like,
I last time I heard like scene of the crime, I mean he didn't kill her on that spot and then dig a grave and throw her in there. So like is I don't know.
I don't know. I even
everyone
question,
falls in love really fast in this movie too, you know.
Yes, they
Everyone's
do.
so quick to be
Right.
like, I
Love you.
I love you.
and see, before she says that, you could even be like, okay, maybe more time has passed than they are letting on. But she says 3 guys in 3 days, including him. So it's only been like 3 days.
That's
Yeah. People.
Well, maybe it's Canadian culture, you know. You just bone somebody and then you're like, I love you.
Yeah.
It's just more open and caring people.
Or on the other side, you get Jenny and Paul eating their breakfast, and Jenny just wants to leave town. And she doesn't have any money. He doesn't have any money. And so she decides, oh, hey, maybe we could steal some shit from the house and sell it.
Yeah.
This old bitch don't need it. They just sell it and move out.
Right. Like, what the
Great
fuck?
idea.
Yeah. That's because anything that's just in the hallways is just like public property. Like you could just take it and go with it.
Up for grabs.
But of course, she loves him. Yeah. But oops, Kirby is in the house. I don't know. Kirby's in the house. And Kirby actually like calls Jackman and he's like, dude, this is our guy. Like seriously. And Kirby's just like, yeah. Or not Kirby, but Jackman's just like, no. Couldn't be.
Look at this fucking idiot over here actually chasing relevant leads.
I know. Yes, exactly.
What's so great is Kirby breaks in the room and the dead body's right there, and he's completely oblivious to it for like,
yes.
5 minutes.
It hasn't
Yeah.
slumped over or anything.
Directly behind him.
He
It just has
shot
like
her.
a very nice hole with a messy gun. The gun's supposed to be so messy, but it just leaves one nice little bullet hole in her head.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't take and do that in real life. There'd be some nice splatter on the back of the.
It's a made-for-TV movie, though. Can't be too shocking,
That is
What?
true.
Good.
How would you know that, Slade?
Huh? Oh, because
How would
I've shot one before, so it's
Slade's murdered a few boarding house mothers.
yeah.
That's what
My dad's got a lot of guns, So and every time that I come in, he's just like, he's drunk and just like, hey, let's go shoot guns. And just like, hey, you're not in any shape. Fuck that. Let's go shoot guns. You're a man, ain't you? Just like, oh god, come on, Dad. Last time you fell over with the fucking Daewoo and almost shot your foot off. It's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. It's just. So, yeah.
Oh, fuck. So Jenny and Paul are like they're packing up, and she hears something like somebody downstairs, and he's like, okay, I gotta go check it out. Whatever. Finds Kirby. Kirby has already found the woman dead, and then he's like, basically, Deputy Kirby now is like, trying to like, he's got a gun on him. He says, what? Shut up, you pervert. And I just put like question mark. There's not been any indication that this killer has done any kind of sexual assault. Obviously, as we found out earlier.
He can't even get an erection, yeah.
This, like, it proceeds to be the most infuriating, like, back and forth between two people with loaded handguns that I've ever witnessed on film. Or,
Oh my god.
Video.
Just like your video, yes. Just like
Yeah.
you're pointing the gun at him, and you allow him to turn completely around with the gun in his hand, pointed kind of at you. He could take and shoot you in the gut, but then it's like, oh. Oh, God.
But, of course, instead of either of them getting shot in the scuffle, Jenny gets shot. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Not Jenny.
Jenny, who can I turn to? And so he doesn't even check on Jenny. And he just goes up. He takes Kirby up to his room and he tells them, do you want to see what a killer's room looks like? Look, there are a lot of windows. I like windows. And he goes totally fucking postal on, like, I don't know where the hell he lives, but there are a lot of people outside of his house.
Yeah, evidently most murderers like after the fall of New York, which is, you know, post-apocalyptic movies are pretty good.
Yeah, you notice he had, like, everything he had was, like, an action thing on his wall, you know? Like,
I think those were posters for other Emeritus movies.
Were they?
They did a lot of...
Well, let's see. Yeah, because there wasn't anything that, like, I recognized, but yeah, they were all, like, you know, definitely like a Rambo looking thing. So, but okay, so my third favorite character in the movie, so it goes Charlie, and then it goes Lloyd Bridges. My third favorite is the sniper guy in his camo hat and his green vest and his megaphone.
Yeah, Canadian SWAT uniforms are kind of just thrown together, aren't they?
It looks like they just grabbed somebody at Walmart and they're like, hey, you look like...
in the hunting section and just...
Oh my God.
Orders come down from the top. We're to take him out. What about the hostage? Fuck him.
And then, of course, yeah, Lloyd Bridges grabs the megaphone, you know, and he's like, Kirby, are you okay? Keep your head down. He keeps telling everybody, keep your head down. Keep your head down.
Oh, and the whole reason the SWAT is there is because evidently this guy has guns all over his fucking room, like I alluded to.
Oh, yeah.
We've
only seen two, but yeah, we've only seen two in action, but yeah, apparently, yes, his tiny room was an arsenal.
And the whole time Kirby's got a fucking gun. He's just like, I'm just sitting there yelling at the screen. I'm like, shoot him while he's shooting outside. Just put
to be fair, he's never been trained. They gave him a gun from evidence.
3 feet away.
You can figure it out.
You would think.
Then there's that whole blow your brains out part.
Yes.
Kind of like Last House on the Left.
That part made
I
me
can't.
Oh my God.
It was hysterical.
Yeah, Kirby was like a little whining bitch on the floor, and Paul he runs out of ammo, which gives them the opportunity to come in and shoot him in slow motion.
Yes,
And that was the most entertaining part of the movie. I laughed pretty hard.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Oh, actually, the next part was even more entertaining. So then we go back. We go back to Jackman, and he's taking the cuffs off of Mark, and like just letting him go. And he goes, "Hey, Mark,
I'm sorry.
sorry."
Mark, sorry.
My bad.
Expected like a Jeremiah Johnson moment, and let's just turn around and just nod. He's like,
and then what the fuck? All of a sudden, the girl's alive again. Like,
yeah,
like,
she just got grazed. Like,
yeah.
But she was dead earlier. I thought they checked her pulse or something, and it was.
I think
it seemed like they made it obvious she was dead.
They just nudged her with their foot. He's like, "Yeah, she's fucking dead, man."
Yeah. Yeah, all this could have been avoided because that's what set him off. If he just would have checked for a pulse, it all would have been fine, you know? Like. And
the girl acting like he just takes and starts to walk off into the Canadian sunset, and the girl's like thinks about taking and following to apologize, and it's just. But the whole time I'm like, there is like, what about Charlie? At the end of the movie, I was just like, what about Charlie?
That's right. Charlie never got his fucking money back.
Never got his money.
This movie would have went up a whole nother rating for me if Charlie would have just like ran his ass over right at the end of the movie. Because I wanted some closure with that storyline. It's just like,
yeah, there was absolutely no reason for him to have that character. Like that storyline had nothing to do with anything.
no.
I think that's half the movie.
It's literally right half the movie. Did you guys read the credits for this?
What?
Did you read the credits, the names?
I couldn't take anymore.
There was the person who did props has a fucking amazing name. His name is Kevin Sexsmith. I was like, imagine having that fucking last name. You would have to be fucking really good in bed, or else everybody's gonna be disappointed in you.
Yeah.
It's like your name is fucking Sexsmith. But yeah, that was a movie.
It was a movie. It was a movie.
It was a movie.
It was a feature length. It was released on video. Tony bought it, and the rest of us watched.
How much did you spend on it, Tony? Do you remember?
I don't think I paid too much for it. I think it was probably like $10 or something. At one point I was trying to collect all the Emeritus stuff, before kind of the whole VHS resurgence happened. And so I think I got it pretty cheap. And the cover, I don't know if you guys have you guys seen the cover art for the VHS? It's absolutely amazingly terrible.
Yeah.
It's very.
It looks like an 80s album cover. Like it has nothing to do with the movie. It's like a skyscraper with random people putting their hands in the air and like holes that people are coming out of, like whack-a-mole holes. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's
and then
just
I
like
sent you guys that picture of the back, like there's typos on the back cover. And
Yes.
I don't think they put much work into the United States VHS release of this one.
I don't know why.
Tape should be.
That's one of my biggest regrets is not taking and buying more VHS. Like when my local video stores started to sell them when DVD started to boom.
Yeah.
I missed so many of those some of those big box releases so much. Just looking at them, just thinking,
And now there's so much stuff.
God forbid how much Bodycount is probably worth now,
Let's find out.
Yes. Oh my god. Okay. eBay. Bodycount VHS.
That one's going to be tough. There's so many movies with that name.
I know.
Yes. And that was exactly, that's how it all started, was that, there's so many movies, like even within a few years.
Oh yeah, there's like the Ice-T one, there's the Brigitte Nielsen one.
Mm-hmm.
One of
your
with Jared
Italian one.
Right?
And the band with Ice-T.
Yeah,
Yep.
The Italian one was the one that he thought he was watching.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a lot of 33 rare SOVs for $750, including that.
Who buy $750 worth of this shitty movie?
Yeah, there is a splatter farm in there.
Oh, but Splatter Farm's good.
Yeah, no, let's see. The Dead Next Door. These are not really that rare. And then some that just look like complete shit. I can't read half the titles, to be honest with you. There's one that's Japanese. I love it when people put rare or vintage on stuff, and it's like, just because it's old.
Rare Disney Black Diamond VHS.
Yeah.
$10,000.
Okay.
$25,000.
Oh, wait, here.
Every thrift store has a copy.
Oh, I explained that to a pawn shop owner one time, and I was just like, that the actual sold ones were never completed or were just money laundering. There's videos of people literally opening up new copies and on YouTube and cleaning their toilets with them to infuriate people.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm not finding it on eBay. You might have a true rarity on your hands there, Tony.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm so
Wow.
excited. Well, like I said earlier, this movie was so great. I'd watched it when I got it, and I completely forgot it, and was watching it for the podcast, and like halfway in, I'm like, this looks really familiar. And then I was like, oh shit, I have this. I've seen this before.
What happened?
It just shows how mundane this film was, It's like your generic procedural cop movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watched it for about 5-10 minutes and decided you needed to drink, and then you drank. You kept on drinking until you forgot.
I'm sure I did.
Yes. Could be a thing. Okay, let's rate this. I can't wait. And then maybe we'll get Sam on here. Is she available?
Maybe.
Okay. If not, we can probably guess that she's going to give it a 0. Do we even allow 0, or do we start at 1?
Oh yeah, 0 should exist.
No, 1 to 5. But
Yeah,
I wasn't a real member, so you don't listen to me.
Yeah, I think 1 is like the worst, right?
I wouldn't think so.
All the movie guys, it used to be turkey.
0 on
Turkey is
IMDb.
what they'd call the zeros.
Okay, you can do turkey to 5.
Okay.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah, listen to Tony. He's the one that knows, man.
He's established our rating system. Like,
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty much the Leonard Maltin rating system.
Yeah.
Old video guides.
I used to have some of those.
Yeah.
Oh, those are great.
Yeah.
Before the internet. All right, I'll get started. Like, this movie is not good. It's horrible. It's horrible. But I had some fun with it, and like talking to you guys about it. I think that the key there was that I was watching it with someone. I mean, kind of like we were just texting. But like talking about it has been really fun. Like we've had a lot of laughs or whatever. So I think this is one of those ones that maybe needs to be a group experience to maybe really appreciate how bad it can be. But just because I had enough fun with it, what is a 1? So 0 is a turkey, 1 is bad. What's 2?
2's fair, 3's good, 4's great, 5 is amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 1.5 because of the enjoyment factor. But it doesn't really, like, I still would recommend this to people to watch. I just thought it was just horribly terrible that I would recommend people to watch it. Tony.
I was originally thinking 2, but after I hear your logic, I feel I got to agree with you and go to 1.5. This one, like, I can see, it'd probably be a lot more fun watching with people because it's got some great dialogue. It contradicts itself constantly. There's some great one-liners in there throughout the film. But for the most part, it plays like a bad police procedural movie. There's no gore. There's no real, there's really no good action in it. I mean, the action is so boring. I mean, you got that chase scene and it's just so, stock, I mean, and by the last half an hour of the movie, I mean, I was just waiting for it to be over with. I couldn't drink the beers fast enough. So I think if you got a case of beer, you need at least a case of beer or definitely some friends to really enjoy this one. So yeah, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to say a 1.5.
All right, Maddie.
I'll just go with a 1 because I just had a difficult time watching it. Got really bored, kept pausing it, doing whatever. Fear didn't help. I loved when he got shot in slow motion at the end, and I laughed really hard. That was about it. It's just...
So you loved the first 3 minutes with the theme song and the last 3 minutes of him getting shot.
That sounds about right. I heard the theme song, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome. I was like, oh, okay. And then he gets shot at the end. Oh, cool. Okay.
It's over. Thank goodness.
Yeah,
Thank God.
it just wasn't for me.
All right, Slade.
Yeah, originally I was going to go with the 2 as well, but hearing you guys talk about it.
I lowered the bar for everybody.
Sure did.
You know what? I'm gonna stick with it too. Mainly because it is kind of watchable. It looks like that there were some people that actually, some of the shots and the way it was, the cinematography behind it, like it's
Very competent.
Yeah, it was competent, and I was just like, what the, like I had so many what the fuck moments in it that made me smile. That it was not something that I'll ever watch again unless for whatever reason somebody really wants to watch the cop movie, a SOV cop movie, and then I'd be totally after I've already shown them 555 and so, but yeah, there was point. I had a few laughs in this, and I don't think it was completely unwatchable. I just feel like a lot of the performances were phoned in, and if they had had a little bit more enthusiasm and the script had been better, I think it could have, been even better than most average. It's really weird to me that this was shot on video for television though. And the few things in it, because I didn't know that before we started talking about it, and I have this on my notes. It's like, this is like a shot on TV movie.
Yeah.
and you called it.
When they did a lot of these, the company did a lot of these, Emeritus Productions. I think they did at least like 15 or 20 of these movies.
Wow.
And they did it for...
There's a chapter about them in that book. That's the only reason I know about them.
Yeah.
Analog Nightmares.
Yeah, I think I'll take and stick with the 2, but just barely. Like I'm in the same boat. Like I would recommend it to somebody who's got a high tolerance for bad, just to see their reactions to some of the bizarro lines in it. But yeah, I'm at it too.
Yeah, and you could always make a drinking game out of it for every time somebody says "I love you."
Yeah, or shit.
Yeah.
They say shit so many times in this movie. So many times. I didn't realize you could say shit on Canadian TV, but obviously you can.
Yeah.
They might have figured it out. Who knows?
As much as they get on shit on it for being pacifist people, like they've got a lot thicker skin for a lot of stuff that gets bitched about on American television, as far as
for sure.
And it's crap.
Canadian TV is way cooler than American TV.
This isn't proof of that.
No,
it is not.
I don't know. There's some pretty bad made-for-TV movies in the 80s as well in America.
But there were some really good made-for-TV movies like that I've discovered, like from the late 70s, early 80s, that I have like Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. I never watched that because I was like, it's TV, made for TV. Man, that's a good movie.
It is.
Gargoyles. That's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bad Ronald's another one.
Yeah, Bad Ronald. That's a good one.
Never seen it.
There's another one that I just watched not that long ago. But because of the same thing, because of Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, I've been giving some of these a little bit more of a chance. But yeah, they really had some...
a handful. There's a lot of really bad ones, though, too.
Oh, right.
Good and bad anything.
Oh, God. Strays. Was it Strays?
Strays.
Yeah, God, this fucking movie.
Yeah. Is that about cats?
Yeah, it's about fucking cats. Like an evil cat.
That was made for the USA Network, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that one's hilarious.
See, when I think made for TV, like, I think of, like, for ABC, NBC, CBS.
Yeah.
Like, those are the ones that I think of, like the ABC Sunday night movie or whatever.
Yeah.
They're always starring Kate Jackson or something.
There was a movie called The Crying Child I really was obsessed with when I was a kid. I think it was on Lifetime or something, though, but I'd really like to rewatch it.
The channel where every man is literally Hitler? And
then
combined.
But it was a cool...
All men do is beat women and get them hooked on drugs.
I remember it was fucking cool.
Yeah,
some of those Lifetime movies are a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are. Right. Yeah, they can be.
Asylum did some fucking Lifetime movies.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what like
Sure.
people like Fred Olin Ray and some of the cult
Yeah.
directors. That's what they do now. They're all making Lifetime movies.
Yeah, and they're all terrible, but I haven't watched many, so. But the ones I've seen.
Yeah, I'm not even finding that movie on IMDb, so you know.
That'd be
Being Child?
It's oh no, you said the baby. It's Crying Child, or no, you might.
Crying Child. I know it's on
Crying...
IMDb.
Oh, here we
yeah.
go. Mariel Hemingway from 1996.
Oh, nice.
I
That's-
need to see that movie again.
Fiona Hughes,
Maybe.
Ken
It-
Schreiner. Those two are on General Hospital, or at least they were.
Of course they are.
Yes, of course. All right, so what are we gonna do next? We need a palate cleanser. We need something good.
Boarding House
I-
Director's Cut just for
Fuck
Slate.
that.
No,
Fuck that.
Peter.
I'm out.
Now,
You know
okay,
what
so
we do? Why don't we do? I know it's Slade's favorite, and I haven't watched it in a little while. What about Redneck Zombies?
yeah,
I'm down. I got it.
I love that movie so much.
Let's do it.
Let's do that, and eventually, so J.R. Bookwalter is an awesome guy, and he is sending me the new Blu-ray remaster of Ozone, which is the movie we talked about before that we were going to do, but now we kind of decided to wait so we could actually like review the Blu-ray remaster. So that'll be a couple episodes upcoming, I would think. But yeah, Redneck Zombies. There we go.
Definitely.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. And if you've got an hour and a half of your life where you want to drink a lot and bang your head against the wall, go watch Body Count from 1987.
Yep. And
This is Kirby signing out, eh?
and when we come back for Redneck Zombies, I'll be waiting for you, boys.
Dark days. Dark days are coming.
Dark days.
Oh, man. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks.
Woo.
Woohoo.